If you're ever wondering, should I choose LLC versus S Corp? It shouldn't even cross your mind until you're making north of 300,000 profit in your business, okay? Anything below that, stick with an LLC or sole proprietorship. Once you hit 300K in profit, then we can talk about an S Corp, and then that's going to start saving you taxes in the realm of 50 to 60,000, okay? Let me walk you through one of the most common and expensive tax mistakes I see. It's something people Google constantly. LLC versus S Corp. I'm going to show you 3 quick examples so that you can see how the structure, timing, and compliance all affect the outcome of your tax bill. You can see I have a little table here to show you the examples. So starting right here, default LLC if you choose that election. Let's say, for example, you make $600,000 of profit per year, okay? As a default LLC, okay, all of that profit is subject to self-employment taxes, which is 15.3%. You can see that's about $90,000 in this example. There's practically no compliance costs for setting up an LLC. Let me be clear. If you're an LLC and you're doing that much in profit and you're collecting that profit because you're the owner, you are overpaying in taxes, okay? Once you hit a certain profit level, that is when you want to choose to become an S Corp. You should start off as an LLC or just a sole proprietorship, doesn't really matter. Once you hit a certain profit, typically above 300,000, that's when you want to move to an S Corp. So an S Corp done right. So I'm going to show you this example here. 600,000, same profit, same business. What you have to do in an S Corp though is split out salary versus distribution. You don't have to do that for LLC. So why elect an S Corp? You are only taxed self-employment tax on the amount that is based on the salary. So you can see here, the salary you have to give yourself for the legal compliance purpose has to be reasonable to the profit, okay? And there's some ratios and it involves some judgment. But let's say it's 180,000, for example, that's the salary. The difference, 420,000, is the distribution you take, okay? Which is not going to be subject to the self-employment taxes, okay? So you can see here, income subject to self-employment taxes is the 180. You're taxed at 15%, 27,000. The compliance cost for an S Corp is about $6,000 to set it up and keep it running. Okay, look at the benefit though. You save between $50,000 to $60,000 in taxes at the same income level by choosing to go with an S Corp. Okay, that's the difference here. Now the benefit, the only thing an S Corp does different from an LLC is it segregates salary versus distribution. Okay, this is a very critical. You have to understand this. Now, you can do this wrong. There's a level, and this is why I said it all comes back to the profit the business is making, okay? If you elect an S Corp too early, it's not going to be worth it. So this example here, okay, let's say you're making 150 grand of profit, okay? And you say, okay, I want to elect an S Corp. IRS regulation requires you to take a salary, to take a reasonable salary and document it if you're going to choose an S Corp, okay? You can't just pick a salary of $1. Okay, that's not how that works, all right? It has to be reasonable. Now, what is reasonable? That involves judgment, that involves, how much effort you put into the business. This is what you have to talk to your CPA about, okay? What is your involvement? Because IRS is going to test you, okay? So this is about reasonable, okay? 150,000 in profit, okay? The owner's salary is 90 and the distribution is 60. That's an even distribution. So what are we subject to for self-employment taxes? The 90,000, okay, at 15% is 13, but you still have your compliance costs at around 6,000. So your net benefit, as you can see here, is only about 1,000. It's not really worth it at that point to do it, okay? You have to be making a certain amount of profit, typically above 300,000. That's when you want to elect an S Corp. Now, you can also do this wrong, and this is why the IRS really cracks down on these things. Let's say in this example here, you're making 300,000, okay, and you give yourself a salary, an owner's salary of 60 grand, so you can try and minimize your self-employment taxes, and you take the rest as a distribution, the 240, okay? You can see income subject, we're going to say it's 60. Again, this is done wrong. This is an unreasonable salary, 60,000 for an S Corp when you're making 300,000, okay? Yes, your taxes are smaller because you're only getting taxed on a small portion you claim as your salary, but the IRS exposure is very high. The IRS really cracks down on these things, and they will hit you for back taxes and penalties because you didn't do it right. Okay, so it's very critical that you discuss with your CPA what is your involvement in the business, how much would it cost to replace somebody like you, what is a reasonable salary. Okay, so if you're ever wondering, Should I choose LLC versus S Corp? It shouldn't even cross your mind until you're making north of 300,000 profit in your business, okay? Anything below that, stick with an LLC or sole proprietorship. Once you hit 300K in profit, then we can talk about an S Corp, and then that's going to start saving you taxes in the realm of 50 to 60,000.